So yes. Do you know Charlie Sr.?
Well, I'd met him back in the day, but I can't say I really know him.
Okay.
But it was good.
He's a good
Hey,
guy.
Ron. Hey, Ron.
Good evening, Jim. How are you doing?
Good, great. Thank you.
Playing some golf, I hope.
I played today, played 9.
Nice day to play.
Yeah, it was beautiful. I played Monday, but getting toward the end of the season.
Unfortunately, it is.
Hi, John.
Good evening, Mr. Mathers.
Hi there.
He's not speaking.
Must have his volume turned down or something.
Hi, everybody.
Oh, there he is.
Hey, John.
Hi, John.
Getting all established here with my technology. Let's see.
We have a quorum, Ron, tonight.
We do. Joe, Joel, Ron Bodenson, and Peter Roos are the ones I know won't be here. Other than that, we have all the members committed. All right. Well, we have about 5 minutes.
So John, you, me, Elliot.
Yeah, Giselle,
Okay.
Tom Berland,
Tom, okay.
and Dr. Hay and Carol Snow.
Okay.
Jim, I have to tell you that your presence was missed at the Harvest Fest this year.
Yes.
Had several people ask me where you were.
Oh, you're kidding.
I'm not kidding.
Oh, my gosh.
They had cash in hand.
Oh, my gosh. Well, I had to go to upstate New York, kind of at the last thing. That was number one. Number two, I think that was the main thing, was my main problem. The other thing I was going to do this year was to bring, those nice 9-ounce, 8.5-ounce gift bottles with the tags.
Yeah.
And of course, Peter Loden sells those in the gift shop.
Yeah.
But I charge 9 and he charges 14. So I didn't
Well,
know if that would be too cool.
that was your chance to raise your price.
But it was a good turnout?
Yeah, it was a pretty good turnout. Not as good as years past. The weather was it was a very blustery day.
Yeah.
With a lot of clouds. When the sun was out, it was beautiful. When the sun was behind a cloud, it got cold.
Yeah.
Just in case, John.
All right. Again, Aaron, I'm also double screening, so you wave real frantically.
Go for it.
All right.
I see Giselle's joined us. Good evening, Giselle. And hi, John.
Hey, Giselle. Hey, John.
Hello.
I think we have just Elliot, Tom Berland, Carol, and Dr. Hay.
Aaron, I'm glad you sent your memo about the new agenda, because otherwise I think I would have had to find an excuse to miss.
Bow out.
You would have had to have been in upstate New York.
Yeah, I would have had to go to upstate New York, exactly.
Had to send the disclaimer that we're working on the new template.
That was Aaron's suggestion, and I thought it was a great one to do that.
At least this way we won't have any surprises or have anything leave our agenda and then all of a sudden pop up again
I think it's good for,
down the road.
people sometimes, you hear them complaining that, they don't know things are going on. Well, the process and the statutes and the requirements are what they are. But, to even find another way to disperse that information, on an agenda before it happens, certainly can't hurt for the people who just watch the meetings and they see or look at the agendas. They'll know ahead of time that this is on the horizon. So I think it's good in that regard too.
Sure. Well, it's helpful for staff also. When we look at our agenda, we know everything that's pending. Making sure nothing slips through the cracks.
Right. Hello, Giselle. Hello, Dr. Hay.
And then
See you both.
Hello.
So I think all we have, and it's a couple minutes of, but Tom, Elliot, and Carol. Hello, Marlene.
Hello.
I'm Marlene.
Hello.
There's Elliot.
Hello.
Hi, Elliot.
Hi, Elliot.
And Carol.
Hi, Carol.
Hello.
How you doing, Carol?
I'm fine, thanks. How are you?
Good, thank you. I think all we're doing is waiting for Tom. We'll give him another minute or two, and then if he's not here, we'll get started. I don't anticipate this will be a long meeting, so I'll give him a little bit of time. I just got a text from Commissioner Berland. And he's asked for a panelist invite. So let me just email that to him.
Oops.
Or do you have that handy? Aaron, I can do it here.
You may have it faster than me, Ron.
All right.
Although if he joins by the agenda, I can always just promote him through if that's faster for him to.
All right, I just sent it to him. All right. Well, we know he'll be joining us, so why don't we get started? Welcome everyone to the October 21st meeting of the Madison Planning and Zoning Commission. Tonight we have only one item on the agenda, rather a short list. And it's a public hearing. And let me just call it up here to read it off. I got all disorganized with there we go. Application 21-19, and it's a regulation amendment or moratorium. The applicant is us, the Madison Planning and Zoning Commission, and it would be a new article 20.20.4, a temporary moratorium on recreational cannabis establishments. So with that, maybe it would make sense to turn the microphone over to our town planner, Erin, and she can describe for us what the moratorium consists of and what we are doing tonight.
Did we have a motion? We open the public hearing, Ron?
Yeah. Well, that's the way we proceed. I think that
Okay.
if you would prefer that we have a formal opening of the public hearing, we haven't done it that way, but we certainly could.
Sure.
So, okay, why don't we do that then? Can I have a motion to open the public hearing?
Move we open the public hearing.
Thank you, Jim. A second from anyone? Elliot, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And there you go. We'll do that from on, Aaron. Thank you.
Okay, so this is proposed temporary moratorium on recreational cannabis establishments. The commission did move this proposal to public hearing just to take care of our requirements. Our notice was posted in the town clerk's office according to statutory requirements, as well as a regional planning referral with no comments. In addition, our legal notices did run both last week and the week prior for this public hearing. Again, following the passage of Public Act 2120, which legalizes cultivation, sale, and transport and distribution of adult use cannabis, the Town of Madison Planning and Zoning Commission is seeking to establish a temporary moratorium on cannabis establishments so that we could take the time to thoughtfully consider any potential impacts and develop appropriate regulations regarding these uses. I will read into the record our proposed language. This is new article 2.20.4, temporary moratorium on recreational cannabis establishments, section 1, purpose. Following the passage of Public Act 2120, which was the June special session, as of July 1st, 2021, the personal use and possession of cannabis by adults over the age of 21 became legal in the state of Connecticut. The law also requires that the Connecticut Department of Consumer Protection drafts regulations pertaining to the use and sale of cannabis and to begin accepting applications for licenses. The law further provides for municipalities to prohibit or enact reasonable restrictions on cannabis establishments. However, if standards are not established, such uses will be deemed a permitted use in zoning districts where similar retail and commercial establishments are allowed. The potential regulation of recreational cannabis creates a multitude of legal, regulatory, and safety issues that must be carefully considered. The establishment of a temporary moratorium on the use of land and structures in the town of Madison for cannabis establishments as defined in Public Act 2120 will allow sufficient time for the town to consider the various components of this new industry, develop regulations which appropriately address these establishments, and coordinate with other town agencies. Section 2, definition of terms. For the purpose of this section, the terms referred to herein shall be defined and used as outlined in Public Act 2120. Cannabis establishment, a nonprofit person or persons or business entity otherwise engaged in an activity which would be defined as a producer, dispensary facilitator, cultivator, micro cultivator, retailer, hybrid retailer, food and beverage manufacturer, product packager, transporter, and delivery service by Public Act 21-20, SB 1201. Section 3, temporary moratorium. For the reasons set for above and notwithstanding any other provisions of the zoning regulations to the contrary, the Planning and Zoning Commission hereby adopts a temporary moratorium related to the acceptance, review, and/or approval of applications seeking to establish the land and the use of land and/or structures for a cannabis establishment and other uses related to recreational marijuana. This moratorium shall be in effect for 9 months from the date of adoption or until such time as the commission adopts zoning regulations that regulate establishments and activities described herein, whichever occurs earlier. While this moratorium is in effect, the commission will undertake a planning process to evaluate the potential impact of allowing these establishments and consider any draft regulatory language provided by the Connecticut Department of Consumer Protection with the ultimate goal of adopting a new zoning regulation which addresses these uses in a manner that is suitable to the town of Madison. And that is our proposed text. I don't know if the commission has any discussion that they'd like before opening that up to public comment.
Before we do that, I neglected to do one thing and I apologize. I would like to seat Carol, since we are voting, for Joel Miller. So Carol, I apologize for not seating you earlier.
Thank you.
Does the commission have any questions about it? None at this point. This is a public hearing. I don't know. I don't see how many, or I don't know how many members of the public are attending this evening, but they're certainly willing to have an opportunity to speak or ask questions if they choose to. Do you have any?
We have 2 members of the public, and I would ask that you just raise your hands if you do wish to be heard during the public hearing, and we'll allow you to speak. I do not see any raised hands, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. And there is Mr. Burland. Tom, I know you're a little late. Aaron just read into the record and for the public's benefit, the verbiage of the moratorium. Do you have any questions or comments on it? That's
I don't. Yeah, I don't, Ron. I was there for most of it.
okay. So, well, without any further discussion, I think it's clear the purpose and the reasoning behind it. So with any further discussion or questions, I will ask for a motion from someone.
Okay, Ron, I move that we adopt the resolution for the moratorium as read.
Excuse me, Jim, we would just have a motion to close the public hearing first.
Oh,
Oh,
that's my
yes, right.
small
I'll make that motion.
All right,
Close the public hearing.
and a good one it is. My apologies. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, John. Any discussion on that? All in favor?
Hi.
Aye.
Jim, would you like to rewind the tape and make that motion again?
I will make the motion that we approve the moratorium as read.
Okay.
I'll
And
second it.
Second.
Article
John.
2.20.4.
The second I saw from John Mathers. Any discussion on the motion? Then I'll call the vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Hi.
Aye.
So that will be published and effective when, do you think, Aaron?
The effective date would be next Friday, I believe. I believe the legal notice runs next Thursday. So I can get you those dates, you know, as far as the effective date and our expiration date 9 months later. I'm happy to provide you with that.
Terrific. Anything else on that subject? No? Okay. Well, that was our only agenda item tonight. It required action. I think you saw listed and followed up by an email from Aaron. There are some applications that are in process, so to speak, and I thought, a good suggestion that she thought that this would be appropriate to add these types of things to our agenda so that we had a little idea of what was in the crystal ball, and also another way to help inform the public, aside from legal notices and things like that, what may be coming up on our radar. So thank you for that suggestion. I thought it was a good one.
Sure.
That said, might be appropriate for you to give us a little preview of what those 3 items are, if you don't mind, Aaron.
Sure. And just to kind of familiarize the commission with our format, and then moving forward, it should move pretty smoothly. Regular meeting items are items that have already been received by the commission and would likely be pending any action. For example, this next item, which is Wildwood Avenue. This is a 3-lot subdivision. This is pending an inland wetlands referral. So the commission cannot take action until receiving that report from the commission. So this one, we do have a note in parentheses that our earliest action that we could take is November 4th. That would be after the next inland wetlands meeting, provided they do take action. As you are aware, I believe that the commission is aware, subdivisions have 65 days for the commission to act, or there's an automatic approval. So that we will be following this one along, and I'll update you of any changes that need to be made. Moving forward to new applications, these are new items that came in since your last meeting. They're all received this evening, and we would ask that the commission schedule these public hearings. We do have a text amendment, a regulation amendment made by 14 Railroad Avenue LLC. It's a regulation amendment to section 6.23 to include a new subsection O, and that's regarding building height. That we would ask to be scheduled for November 18th meeting. The second, I believe these are all scheduled. Well, there's one more second public hearing that you can schedule, so you could do that as one motion. The second application is a coastal site plan. This is a chip seal of an existing gravel driveway within portions of the driveway are adjacent to and tidal wetlands, therefore requiring a coastal site plan application. We did refer this to DEEP, provided we do have some comments for the commission, although not mandatory. We would ask that the commission entertain action at your November 4th meeting in an effort to get this activity completed prior to the closing of any of the asphalt plants for the winter. And then the last application for receipt this evening is 92 Scotland Avenue. This is an 830G application for multi-family development. And this is a site plan application, coastal site plan, as this is an appeal for affordable housing. I would recommend the scheduling of a public hearing by the commission, and the next regularly scheduled meeting that we could accommodate that would be November 18th. So if the commission desires, I would ask that you make a motion to schedule those public hearings.
We've never followed that process.
Oh, you've never motioned for a public hearing?
I mean, we can change things.
Okay.
But historically, it's been scheduled by
Yes,
the,
we're gonna have to give and take. I gotta learn a little bit from you too.
you have a lot more responsibility, do it. So,
Okay.
let's leave it the way it's been. But if you see a reason to change it going forward, let's do it that way. But,
Okay, we'll move forward with those public hearings on the 18th.
that makes sense to the commission? Is that okay? And I would
Great.
say that two things. Number one is the chip seal application sounds like it'd be a rather quick one, just with a CAM, so that we might want to schedule that first at that meeting, so that gets out of the way and those folks don't have to sit around till.
Right. Actually, I'm hoping to do it even earlier at the November 4th meeting, provided we have some comments from DEEP. we do have a plan that shows adequate erosion controls. It's a fairly controlled construction activity, as far as no
Right.
stockpiling, potential impacts to the tidal wetlands. So I'm hoping that DEEP gets back to us in time. However, the commission could potentially act without any comments from DEEP, should you feel comfortable with the application.
Okay.
And
And
I have a
second,
question. I have a question for you as well. Speaking of November 4th, the first item, the Wildwood Avenue 3 lot subdivision. Now that type of thing we would typically do at our zoning meeting, not the planning meeting. Are you suggesting that we also move that one up to what is traditionally our planning meeting date?
Not necessarily, although I am open to having, since you are a combined commission
Right.
of planning and zoning, so you can act in both capacities at both meetings. I know it seems that in the past you've dedicated your first meetings of the month to planning type matters, and that's absolutely fine, and that's going to be very useful as we get into the POCD to have dedicated meeting, to handle those matters while we have regulatory business at the next meetings. But I'm actually not sure that they would even be ready for action. I did provide them with a staff report today that I'm hoping they can get in order, but that's completely at the commission's discretion if you'd like to hear that on the November 4th meeting. You could, we just have a note that your earliest action could be November 4th because it's pending inland wetlands. But you're not under obligation to hear that at that meeting. That's up to the commission.
But in regard to doing some zoning type actions in the traditional planning meeting, we have done that in the past. This example here, the chip seal application makes sense because, for the convenience and the expediency of the applicant, and we do that sometimes. Sometimes we'll have public hearings that we will actually, I think, Ron, haven't we even moved public hearings to that planning date just to get the process moving along for the.
Well,
we've done that, and I think, Jim, it's an excellent point. I think what Dave tried to do, and he talked to me a little about it, we had a very empty agenda for a planning meeting. And there was something really time consuming coming up for the zoning meeting.
Yeah.
It was told, let's slip that in and get it out of the way type of thought process. But, as I've chatted about with Aaron a little bit, we haven't been hard and fast on no planning, all zoning. So I think that's the best I can explain it, is kind of the way you did.
right, and I agree. And I did notice in previously you have separate calendars for both. Your annual calendar does reflect a planning meeting dates as well as the zoning aspect meeting dates. And it seems that the deadlines for receipts by the commission only reflect the second meeting of the month. And so that isn't technically correct because you're not a separate planning commission versus a zoning commission. So applications that do come into the office prior to that first meeting of the month, that is an automatic receipt at that regularly scheduled planning and zoning commission meeting date, regardless of whether or not you're discussing planning matters or zoning matters. So we do have to keep that in our minds for our statutory timeframes. We can't exclude that first meeting should we be running the clock for actions. So that's something that I think we can address in the new calendar year with a combined calendar, and the commission you can discuss whatever you'd like and your business at the first meeting. But I just didn't want to give applicants the impression that the second meeting is the only regulatory meeting where there are deadlines reflected, because legally we do have to include that first meeting. So yes, I mean, at our next planning meeting, I do have some information that John and I had worked on for, mostly John worked on. He did an analysis of the changes for accessory apartment, the statutory changes that occurred this summer that will come into effect, and compare them to what we currently have to open up a discussion for the commission. So we do have some planning items ready to discuss at your next meeting. And at this point, I think we'll only plan to include the matter of Neck Road on that agenda as well.
And the other thing, with regards to that list you went through, Aaron, I think this is for the commission's benefit, if you're not familiar, the project on Railroad Avenue is correct me if I'm wrong, the former Cooney property behind Bradley and Wall, north of Clarity. So it's at the intersection of Bradley and Railroad Avenue, so to speak, behind where Here We Are was.
Yeah.
Bradley and Wall.
So that is the
what
applicant, Ron. However, the special exception application was withdrawn pending this text amendment. So this is a text amendment that would affect multiple properties on that block, and I'll show you at our meeting on the 18th the lots that would be affected by this potential regulation change. And then pending the outcome.
This is the property that's actually driving the request.
Correct. That's the applicant.
Yeah.
Correct.
So, and I think we're all familiar with the property out at Cottage and Mill. We had that before us 6 or 9 months ago about his transitional residential zone change.
That is not on our agenda as we do not have a formal application. I anticipate the receipt of an 830G multifamily housing development on the corner of Cottage and Mill at 35 Cottage. However, the application has been submitted to the Inland Wetlands Commission at this time.
Yeah. So anything else in the crystal ball that you want to mention?
That's it. I think we're ready for minutes. And then I have one other comment, however you'd prefer, if you'd like to handle minutes first, or if you want me just to.
Why don't we do that?
Talking all together.
I love doing the minutes. He hates to be held up. So. Elliot?
So.
Yes, sir. Yep. You
Making
ready
a
for the
motion?
minutes? Yeah. Okay, I have the regular meeting minutes from September 16th. Members present: Clark, Madison, Hitchcock, McDowell, Bonovsky. Alternates present: Ruse and Bodenson. And I'll entertain a motion.
Motion from someone?
Motion to approve?
Thank you.
Tom, seconded. Giselle,
Al, thanks, Giselle.
any discussions or changes? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Our planning meeting from October 7th, members present: Clark, Hitchcock, McDowell, Miller, Hay, Mathers, Bonovsky. Alternates present: Ruse, Bodenson, and Snow. And I will entertain a motion for that one.
I'll
So
move
moved.
it.
Carol, thank you. And a second by,
Second.
or Dr. Hay, excuse me, and Carol.
Correct. Any discussions or changes? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None.
Elliot, I abstained from that one because I was not there and I have not viewed the,
Okay.
Thank you. Remarks, I don't think I have any, and I know the town planner has some, so then I'll turn it over to you.
Just one brief comment. I wanted to update the commission, let you know, the town does have an ad hoc affordable housing committee who is charged with drafting the affordable housing plan for the town and presenting that to the Board of Selectmen. They're currently working with the regional planning agency on gathering information and they're looking to have public educational forums for our residents and have guest speakers. Their first guest speaker will be David Fink, who is essentially an expert in the field. They're looking to have a public forum on December 16th. I just wanted to let the commission know that that is a meeting date of the commission, and keep that in the back of our heads in case we have a light load towards the end of mid-December. The commission may want to attend that public informational session or potentially cancel the meeting. So I just wanted to let you know, clearly, it's still far enough out that we don't really know if we'll be having any business to handle. But I did want you to have that date in the back of your heads here in case we have an interest in affordability.
Aaron, should we consider hosting that meeting at our meeting?
It's going to be a Zoom meeting. So it could be either way. Ron mentioned the same idea, and that is up to the commission. You're welcome to, absolutely. If that's more convenient and everyone is interested, we could absolutely dedicate some time to that.
Yeah. I mean, it's certainly relevant to us, right?
Sure.
I agree, John. It's
And,
within our wheelhouse.
And if we do have some business to conduct, Aaron, we had a conversation earlier today about that, as you mentioned, and the thought was that, we could even start an hour earlier if necessary, to combine the both. So that's a suggestion, a good one, John. Thank you.
Okay. I'll explore that with the committee.
I think we understand affordable housing, but to have someone like David Fink talk about it, I think is good for all of us. And in a worst case scenario, we can always look at the Zoom meeting on video, but we wouldn't be able to ask questions. So that would be the downside of that. But that's December 16th, right, Aaron?
Yes, it will be December 16th. I can get a little more information and offer to the committee that you're willing to hold that forum on their behalf, and see if they'd like to take you up on that offer.
Great, thanks.
Or, and if they're uncomfortable doing that, they could start their meeting at 6 o'clock, and be in control and pass the baton over to us for the continuation as a P&Z meeting at 7.
Okay, all good ideas. Thank you. And that's all I had.
Okay. Then is there anything else any of the members wish to bring up, comment on, talk about?
Just a quick question out of curiosity. I know that the Board of Selectmen have an ad hoc committee on the marijuana, or the recreational marijuana subject. And we're going to be doing something in parallel with them, or are we waiting for the results of their committee, or what's the
thought was, John, that, obviously with the statute, and there are responsibilities that the town takes on or can pass on, and a lot of decisions have to be made, some of which are P&Z. What we requested originally, and I don't think you're at that meeting, was
I did read the minutes though, so
ask the selectmen to form an ad hoc committee to measure the temperature of the town on this subject. I mean, rather than arbitrarily decide that we know we should allow it or shouldn't allow it, and if so, where, type of thing. And to gather the stakeholders, the public, obviously, but also Youth and Family Services, the police department, possibly economic development. Joe Banofsky is going to be representing our commission on that ad hoc committee and get their input and use as a guide for any regulations that we may put in place. So to complement that and to prevent other things from happening, that was the reason for the moratorium. I hope that answers your question. So we'll look to the work of that group to give us some guidance as to what direction the town wants to go in and potentially what direction we take it following that that direction.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Anything else? Okay, with that, then I would entertain a motion to adjourn. Anybody willing to make that one? Thank you, Elliot. Second from Skowski. Was that
You
John?
can't do that, John.
Thanks.
I felt excluded until now, but thank you.
Anything you want to add, John? You know, you've been kind of a fly on the
No.
wall.
Yeah, no, I was just here in case Erin needed me, and she needs me less and less and less. So this is a good sign.
Thanks,
Well, good
John.
to see you. Good to have you with us. So then I'll call for a vote. All in favor of adjournment, signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good evening.
Thank you, Ron.
Thank
Good
you.
night.
Bye-bye.
Halloween, and be sure to vote.